Hello, welcome to our rolling Escapades Season 2, Episode 27, Part 2, in which we continue the interesting thing that is happening. If you want to recap for Part 1, watch Part 1.
That's all you're getting, apparently.
that is all you're getting.
We walked around an island.
I mean, to be fair, you walk from point A to point B. That's Part 1.
And it's definitely not the Emerald Isle, and there's no grass.
Yes. Right, so you guys have been locked in a room at the bottom of a gatehouse.
Oh, we're in the bottom of the gatehouse.
Yes.
Oh,
cool. There was multiple doors, but this is just one of the doors that they've locked you into. You assume the door the opposite side where they wanted you to put your stuff initially was the exact same thing at the other tower. So about an hour passes, during which you discuss about things occasionally, and then, yes, I said at the end of the last one the door is unlocked by someone, but you would hear some slight noise as people returned. Not so much conversation, but you do hear the sounds of people walking across the drawbridge and into the settlement. You do, yes, like that. Again, you hear Erebus. Again, for you, for everyone else, you can hear the sounds of things like chain shirts moving and whatnot. The people coming in are heavily armored and presumably armed. But it's definitely more than 60 people that you hear coming back. It's a lot more than 60 people, and you're only at one of the gatehouses.
Do they sound like they're marching in sort of a regimented fashion?
They are not. No.
Cool.
There's after a few moments, you do feel the gatehouse, the room you're in, start to vibrate slightly. You get the sense that the drawbridge is being raised again, and then you hear a few. You can't make out the words. You can hear a couple of people talking outside the door, and then the door is opened. You see the guard that you saw before, who's like, "Yeah, Sheriff, they're just in here. I said to keep their weapons, but then I didn't. If they wanted to kill us, they would have already killed us. So I just changed my mind."
Stand up. Nice to meet you.
Yes. So into the room walks a very imposing human woman. She has white hair. She has a scar down one of her eyes, which you can see is completely white and scratched out. She has a chunk missing from her nose. One of her ears is missing the earlobe. That one doesn't look that clean. That actually looks like a bite. And it looks sort of like humanoid teeth. She is battle worn. But she is also carrying a spear. She has a shield with her as well. It is a coffin shield. And she has a longbow across her back with a quiver of arrows. And she looks across at all of you. I'm Mazzo.
Eldoran?
Nice to meet you, Mazzo.
I'm Aegis. Pleasure.
Icarus.
Captain Rawlinson at your service.
Shade.
And this is Shamshir.
Derek introduces himself as Derek. My guard tells me you just wandered up to the settlement.
Yep.
Well, we couldn't catch yourselves on your exit, so we went for the second best thing.
Curious. Where have you come from? You don't look like you're from here.
Might I answer your question with a question? Where is here to you?
This island, a place of corruption, an unpleasant place to live that we live in.
Then we come from the other side of the storms.
Ah.
If you know about the storms, that is.
Yes, no, we know about the storms. There is a place still outside. Good to know. No one's come back.
My assumption is that you only know of the island and you only know of its corruption. Nothing from before.
I personally don't know of anything from before, no. But there are people who do. I've heard stories. This is not the place.
That's exactly where I was going next.
I would like you all to follow me. You may keep your weapons on you. It'll just be the 8 of us.
Follow.
Lead on.
Before she turns around and she doesn't check that you're following, she just assumes that you're following. And she marches off quite briskly. She is moving at a reasonable pace. Yeah.
Someone want to pick up the halfling.
You're the best at picking up the halfling now. His strength of 25. Do.
Just pick him up. Like, what? Here we go.
So you've got 2 soldiers carrying on.
So she leads you towards the centre of town. Erebus, your little pingy thing is in the direction that you are travelling.
Oh boy.
That's helpful.
Yeah, it is.
Handy that.
Yep. And you are led to a very large building, probably the biggest building you've seen here in terms of length and width. All the buildings are about the same height. They're all single story, so they are all below the height of the wall. But you can tell easily from the exterior, this is a church dedicated to the Raven Queen.
What a surprise. Well, that was like, I had that as a question.
When the sheriff came to talk to us and we left the room, were the people who came in from the party all around it still, or were they all separated?
They're separated around. You do see there's now like more guards up on the wall, which you're actually able to see. Before you were still sort of underneath the gatehouse. You actually get to see there are guards up on the wall, and you can start seeing people sort of moving around.
Are they all human?
As far as you can tell, they all appear to be human, yes.
And their reaction upon seeing clearly outsiders.
You are looked at with curiosity and nervousness. But more curiosity now that the sheriff is there and is escorting you around.
Where are you in the party?
Probably near up front with her. But I'd keep up quite easily, and I'm kind of eager to.
Cool. I'm gonna whisper to you. How much do we tell them of your connection? I shall leave it to you.
I expect it to reveal itself anyway. I've got questions, so yeah. Or she already knows.
We shall find out.
So you get led into the the church. Just to scale things, I can give a scale at a later point. It's quite a large room. There are various pews and whatnot through the room. Also, there are separate other side rooms, but most of the building is a single large room lined with pews. It is covered in carvings of skulls and ravens and things like that, very similar to the temple that Erebus got married in. at the far end of the church, plus this is the front, there is an altar upon which sits a mummified raven that is just perched looking back towards the church, sort of looking out over anyone who would be in there praying. And up on the ceiling, as you look up, there is a carved representation of the Raven Queen. There is a not a humanoid shape. There is a figure sort of just wearing a large feathered cloak, and sort of towards the bottom of the cloak is just ravens just flying out, and there is just this porcelain mask where a face would be. Yep. What you're looking at doesn't seem to actually have like a proper true form.
Does anything feel different after you enter the temple? Like, does it just feel like everywhere else?
No, it's just the same.
Okay.
Yep, nothing changes. The little thing in your head, does the feeling changes slightly.
Okay.
And it sort of intensifies. You get the feeling that you're in a place you're supposed to be, but it's not the place that is important. Which becomes a little bit more clear when the head priest of the church sort of steps into view. Also, interesting point, there is light inside the temple. It is lined by torches, they're just not close to the door. There are no windows. But where it's lit by torches, where the light strikes, there is colour. So the flames are flickering like red and yellow and orange as they would be. And as you sort of walk through the light, you can see that your belongings and yourselves regain colour again as long as you remain within the light. It looks like a very old human, probably like late 60s, like really old human, male, is walking with a cane, and they sort of make the way over, and hang on, just checking something. Mazo sort of steps up to them and starts making various gestures with her hands. And then the priest sort of leans slightly on his cane and makes some gestures back. And then she turns to you and she says, Yelris says that we can use one of the rooms to have a conversation.
Do you recognise any of the gestures?
Nope.
Okay.
He's also said...
I'm like, it's shadow sign language rather than beard.
Definitely
Free sign language.
That's so sign language.
She does say, Yelris wants to talk to you later.
That's okay with me. I presume he's the head priest.
Yes, Yelris is the leader of our prayers here. Well, the prayers to the Raven Queen, anyway.
Perfect.
I will make sure there is a translator.
Thank you.
For your benefit. Yelris is entirely deaf. He does not hear. But is strong in his own right, hence why he can survive here. But she leads you over to one of the side rooms there. Oh, you do notice there are some people sort of in here praying. There's a couple of groups of like 3 or 4 people Who are just in their own little sections.
Have we seen any children yet?
You see some children here.
Okay.
There are a couple of children in one of the little groups here who are praying. And she leads you into one of the side rooms where there are some places to sit, get sort of comfortable, as comfortable as you can on just hardback wooden chairs, and sort of indicates. Here is where we have a conversation. So, you come from outside. What do you know of here? Also, actually, very quickly, I should welcome you properly. Welcome to Bleakwig.
Fantastic name.
Very appropriate.
What do we know of here? We knew it existed. Everything else has been a learning experience.
We know that the storm appeared roughly 72 years ago, was it? I think that was roughly when.
About 70,
About 70 years
yeah.
ago.
Actually, to be more precise, we didn't know that here really existed until we arrived there. That was
About 2 days ago.
Yes.
Until then, this place was a myth.
the idea is that this was exploratory.
It's true. It was an educated guess that this was here.
Quite a bit.
Strange. So, the outside doesn't know that we exist, but we know the outside exists.
I know of the storm, but not what's within the storm.
We
There-
also
There
know
are some that believed this place existed, but there is no foundation in accurate reporting. I believe would be a correct way to place it.
I believe that makes you, Seven, the first explorers to survive the storms and make it through.
I believe that they were an ass.
Just died.
Multiple times.
None of the people I know of who have tried to go through the storms have come back. So, and as you don't know of our existence, I assume they never made it through either.
Well, they may have made it through, but just never been believed.
If they had have, then there might have been a chance that they'd have to guide people back through the storms. And I wouldn't want to cause offence in saying this, but what are the chances that they would want to return?
Yes, it is a very, very shit place to live. So, why have you come?
To here specifically.
To this island, to this village, to this place. Why would you choose to come here?
Well, Gramps has a pretty good reason to come here, don't you?
I do indeed. It's put in the way of a pilgrimage. There's something I seek.
Make a charisma save for me.
Lovely. Use the bar dice.
Because it's not technically a lie.
Remember, you get numbers.
I get. Do I get anything from you?
+3, I think.
Oh, okay.
Where to find the right one? Yes, +3.
Cool. 14.
14. Wonderful.
I have to do minus in there as well.
Yeah.
Pilgrimage. Still a strange place to pick for a pilgrimage. If you say that's why you're here.
One does not pick pilgrimage. One follows pilgrimage.
Yes, but pilgrimage also somewhat implies that someone's done it before, and no one has.
Founding pilgrimage, then.
Yes. Yes, 70 years. That is, as far as I'm aware about that, it is hard to judge time properly when there is no night or day and everything is the same.
What cause did you know?
from the stories I have heard from some of the people I once knew, a man. This place used to be ruled by an elven king, but he, well, wasn't the nicest of people. Eventually,
Can I do history check on who Elven Kings at that sort of time in history would have been?
No, because it's not actually information you would have
That's
access
cool.
to. Yeah,
There's
it
no
is.
history of them, right?
I'm pretty sure it's been wiped.
Both of their hoods up as if to conceal the fact that they are elves.
Well, my hood's still on.
Yeah,
My hood is still
your
on.
hood up was up earlier. They haven't taken it down, so yeah, I assume so.
Is there any elves residing within this island still?
There are some, yes.
Friendly? Hostile?
Depends on which ones you find.
Of course. Do they know of which this king and their history?
Yes, well, it was the elven nobility that overthrew the king. They were trained in various forms of martial arts, and then determined the king was an unjust ruler and threw him down, and in doing so paved the way for this human to gain his own power and cause this. So they did a wonderful job of looking after their citizens. I mean, obviously, it wasn't entirely their fault. They weren't to know that the true power behind the throne was not the king, but the man in the shadows. But
What happened to the man?
who knows? He disappeared.
Are there any descriptions of him?
No one saw him.
How long ago did he disappear?
After he caused this, it's about 70 or so years ago. He has had a tower somewhere near the centre of the island, and he ripped open reality.
And let the shadow fell through.
Yes.
Around the edge of the island, I'm sure you're aware of various crystals.
Mm-hmm.
So you're aware of their potential in preventing the farther reach of the Shadowfell.
I know the crystals exist, and I know what the people who said they put them there said. Well, I know what the people who put them there said they put them there for, but quite frankly, I don't trust them.
Who put it there?
Other elves.
It appears
Different to the nobility, or
Yes, in actual fact, they don't look like. Wow. They don't look like any other elves I've ever seen.
what did they look like?
They were aged, withered. They had white hair. They were unpleasant to look at.
I do look at him as you say.
I deliberately don't.
I'm questioning myself.
I'm just like, okay, yeah, continue.
Even the young elves, they all looked withered and old.
And with that, I look at you.
I'm not sure if you're aware, as we approached the island, there was a change in one of the crystals. This is something that we only found and was highlighted upon our arrival. We think one of them broke.
It did go pop.
Doesn't do anything to help those on the island. I don't really care. If it is there to protect the outside world, my assumption is the creatures that put it there will know and will make changes to fix it if they care so much as to protect the outside world.
When was it put in place?
Ooh. Not long after, well, from what I've heard, not long after the rift was opened.
The elves you mentioned, Were they already on the island when it happened, or did they actually come through the storm to put them up?
I don't know. They weren't on the island, I know that much.
So they
But I don't know where they came from.
Very odd. Did they have any distinguishing sigils, or
I've never seen one.
it was more? Did anyone mention that they had specific?
Nothing that I know of.
Where was it you just returned from?
We have a, well, it was a funeral actually. We have a separated section of the village, shall we say, another walled exterior open space in which we perform various ceremonies. Funerals being one of them. What we don't want is to burn a body within the town and attract everything that sees the light.
How many of these safe havens would you have? Or is it just the 2?
We just have the 2.
How many other semi-safe areas are there on the island? Would you say? I said semi-safe.
Depends.
Upon?
For some there are other settlements that exist. It depends on their temperament on the day.
So it's likely that if we, let's say tomorrow, set off towards another settlement that you're aware of, they could greet us with
Arrows.
with arrows and spears, as opposed to
Potentially, yes.
a wary drawbridge.
Yes. But to be fair to other settlements, they're not as well defended. We have the advantage of a gap between us and land, and it is difficult for creatures to cross that gap.
Actually, on that note, the water itself, how safe is it?
Well, we eat the fish that we catch in there, and we drink the water, and we have been doing that since the rift opened.
There were some issues when our ship first arrived. Some members of the crew getting.
Corrupted, yes.
Why isn't that happening to the villages?
Who says it's not?
It was more a matter. It was more a matter. It didn't seem like it.
Well, fortunately, we have a very powerful cleric.
Fair enough.
Would that be Yelris?
Yelris, yes. Yes. And we have noticed that, well, powerful cleric, actually, those of us who have been born since the event don't suffer the corruption.
That's interesting.
From the reception we received at the gate, it doesn't seem that you get too many friendly visitors around these parts. Can you describe to me the state of the other villages? Perhaps you also mentioned elderly elves, the ones you thought may be the makers of those crystals. Are they still on the island somewhere?
I have no idea if the elves still exist. I have never seen one. I've only heard stories from people long dead or other.
Sorry. Other?
Yes, you don't necessarily have to die to cease to be human. The essences of the place, their energies can corrupt you into other existences.
I understand.
I do know of another town that we trade with. That is, well, I would say north, but that doesn't really mean anything. Any direction could be north. Do you have a map?
Of this island?
Wasn't someone drawing one
No.
to that?
I don't believe anyone was drawing a map.
There was talk about it. Someone bought parchment, and
Someone
then
definitely said that they were drawing a coastline.
Bought them.
Might have been Derek. Yeah.
It may well have been Derek.
It may have been. Someone bought parchment to draw stuff, yeah.
Derek bought parchment, I think.
Right. Well. I see a way I can help you now. Which means, well, I have something you can help me with. So this now becomes an even trade.
Of course.
But first, other settlements, they exist. The ones I know of are relatively friendly. I wouldn't know of them otherwise. The one we trade with is a mining town. We use them to get our weaponry more than anything, and in return we provide them with food and the carved wood they need. We have a fair few carpenters who are skilled with the trade. So we are a fishing / carpentry village.
Did we see any trees near the village?
You haven't seen any trees near the village, but you also
Didn't look past the foothills yet.
yeah, you didn't go very far to look. That settlement is Gormire.
And just to ask the stupid question to double check, it's mainly humans in the other settlement, Gormire?
No.
Hoping you say otherwise.
No, Gormire is an elven settlement.
Well, that's not what I was expecting.
I assume not. Captain Rawlinson, you said? Wonderful. No, you are the first dwarf I have seen here.
But you
First,
know
that-
he is a dwarf?
Yes, let me rephrase that. You are the first living dwarf I have
Ah,
seen here.
does that make Derek the first living halfling too?
It does.
Well, I'm glad we could have broadened your horizons.
Yes, well, you can look forward to fighting your undead brethren.
Are there lots of undead in the area then? We know there would be many here, but we haven't actually seen any in the hour and a half of travel.
Have you lit a fire?
No.
We're not. We read a book beforehand and said not to.
That's sensible. If you wish to see the undead, light a fire.
We were advised in said book that using light is something that could both save our life and kill us as a result of how they respond.
Yes.
Are you able to provide any insight into the best way to use it to save us? Because at the moment, the most striking thing would be to draw them with it as opposed to another means of using it.
I think the idea would be to make light elsewhere.
And then walk the other direction.
Decoy.
That's what I can think of, but I assume someone like you would know.
Some of the creatures here are strongest whilst in shadow. Welcome to the land of shadows. To fight some of these creatures, you will need to provide light, and then they are easier to deal with. However, you then will start attracting the undead. At first. And then you'll attract other creatures on top.
We know of the undead and a sorrow swarm, I believe they're called.
It's not a name I know.
Things that hug you.
Well, I know of those.
Things
Now you know
that
their name.
Like
Ah,
dogs.
Yes, I know those as well.
Yes,
what name
several others.
do you know them by?
Doesn't really matter.
Well,
Monstrosities, I assume.
it just might make our future communications slightly easier if we are sharing a common lexicon.
We don't need to name them. They're just trying to kill us. I don't really care what they're called. All I care about is how I fight them.
And how
whether
do you fight them?
depends on the thing. Normally, we try to use our bows. The further away we are, the better. The only times we really expose ourselves to dangers are when we are travelling between the two sections. And then, very rarely do we send a vast majority of people.
Do they ambush, or do they have a preferred habitat, like the forests, or...?
You will find them everywhere and anywhere.
That's good to know.
This mining town, what direction is it? I know you said north, but do we follow the river or are we going horizontally away from it?
Right. So, favour for a favour.
Yes.
I can get you a map.
Fantastic.
I can point to you where we are. I can point to you where Gormire is. I can point to you a couple of other settlements that I know the location of.
The tower as well might be interesting.
If you want to know where the tower is, I will point that out to you. Yes.
We would appreciate that.
In exchange for the map, yesterday, some of my guards, so on patrol, didn't report back in. They were just patrolling the local area. We like to keep an eye on whether or not there's a horde coming nearby. I sent people out to try and find them. They didn't find them. They found what we assume is their remains. Didn't get close enough to check because what they could see was blood everywhere.
That is never a good sign.
No. Strangely enough, my people decided that they didn't need to get closer. They could very clearly confirm that that's probably where the patrol was. I'm not sending my people there. They'll die, as already shown by this patrol. However, you need a map. I have a map I can give you. I need the area checked out. I need to know what's there. If there's something there that's you can deal with it. Actually, well, to be fair, there is something there. I want you to go and deal with whatever is there.
Have you seen anything similar to that, or have heard anything similar to that before?
Not before? Nope. You look like you're a bit tougher than my patrol, and quite frankly, I suffer nothing if you die.
The people who went out, how proficient or capable were they?
Everyone here is trained to fight with bow and spear from the age of 5. You don't survive long here if you cannot fight.
That's a clear answer.
You say your people are trained in martial combat. Do you have any magic users here?
We have
Apart from, obviously, your priest.
no, we just have Yelris. He is the only magic user we have here.
Do you have any acolytes?
There's some lesser priests, yes.
Then I alter my question. Do you know whether or not the undead or those other beings are attracted to the use of magic or light from spellcasting? For you may see we have some amongst our number.
I have no idea. The priests don't normally leave the town.
Yes, understand. But you understand my line of questioning.
Oh, yes. I mean, feel free to experiment and let me know what you get.
Yes.
Should a light happen from, let's say, lightning or a fire somehow, and it almost immediately vanishes, would that be enough to draw things?
I have absolutely no idea. So be my guest, test it, let me know the results. If you don't come back, I will assume the results.
As conservative questions my companions may be asking you, I can assure you that we are probably some of the best people you could hire to hunt down and kill any monsters or creatures on this island. which means that this doesn't really sound like such a fair trade to me. The map would be perfectly part of the deal, but so too would perhaps some kind of indication when we arrive at Gormire or any of the other cities that you are on amicable terms with that you may not have mentioned yet. We would like some kind of token or some kind of item we can use to receive perhaps a more friendly invitation to the city next time.
That seems fair. I can do that, yes. I will give you one of my coins.
When we arrived, the guard seemed very much of a hurry to get us to come inside so that we wouldn't be shouting anymore. Does that mean that sound attracts things almost as much as light does?
As you've been travelling across the island, have you heard anything?
The moaning wind?
So what do you
the
think?
Delicate rumble of thunder.
So what do you think happens if there's extended periods of loud noise? We do our best to keep quiet, is why we are talking away from the walls. Silence is key to survival as much as the absence of light is.
No loud spells then.
What's that, Thunder Wizard?
Yeah.
Someone
Shatter,
knock.
lightning bolt.
Yeah, Mr. Zap over here.
My spells are pink.
Sounds like my type of place.
So, is that a deal? I will provide you with a map. I will provide you with a coin with my marking, and you will be able to use the map to navigate this place so you don't get lost, and a coin to where it matters. You will have a means of showing that you have come from Bleakwick.
That sounds perfectly acceptable. My final question, unless I think of anything more, how are we going to know about this blood splatter site? Do we get the map in advance so we can see it, or are you going to give us a guide?
Someone can provide you with directions.
Wonderful.
Might I borrow a bow and a quiver? As you can see, I am not particularly equipped for ranged
And I think I'm going to
engagements.
need mine.
I might not be the most proficient, but I still know which end goes which way.
I suppose we can lend you a
Oh, yes, of
bow and
course.
quiver.
Returned on return.
Returned upon return, assuming you don't die.
In which case, you can come and collect it.
It can just stay there to rot. Yes, I can get you a bow.
I have thought of something else. What was the name of the young lad that griefed us?
Grizan.
Cool. He has one of these, so we need to teach him how to use it.
That is
It's
A
a long
sword.
sword.
right.
A gift.
It's spelt. You see? Right.
A common weapon.
She's just looking at it. And she's going, okay. So my spear is longer.
It is the last line of defense.
If something's got that close, you're already dead.
You may be dead, but they may be dead as well.
Doesn't really matter if they die.
You're still dead.
Ah, but someone else may not.
So the creatures here will probably come back. They normally do. Well, the undead do. They will eventually reform themselves. So I'd rather not lose. If the spear doesn't work, my preference would be for them to flee. But the gift is appreciated. The thought is what counts.
Usually a fire would destroy the undead. Obviously that's not the optimal thing to use here. But I take it without that there isn't an alternative means to ultimately destroy them.
None that I know of. Burning the body, yes, if you manage to destroy the bones. If the bones don't burn, then it still comes back as an undead, but you just get a skeleton rather than a zombie.
Acid.
Well, are there any other sorts of undead other than zombies?
Oh, plenty.
Zombies and skeletons are the main ones we know, but
We were told of vampires.
possibly, yes.
Vampires are one. I mean, think of an undead creature.
No.
It's probably here somewhere.
It's just that kind of a place.
Does that include shadow dragons?
I don't know what a shadow dragon is.
That's promising.
A large winged beast that would be wreathed in shadows racing across the sky. Breathing
Yeah.
darkness across.
It would flatten us in seconds.
And certainly you would know it if you saw it.
A tendency to hoard treasure as well.
And kill indiscriminately.
So you know, a dragon, but dark.
Do you,
I don't think they've got dragons.
I know of a dragon.
Oh,
We have.
you have mythology. Excellent. One of those, but in shadow.
Wonderful. Yay.
Quite, yes.
Congratulations, I think you've brought a new nightmare to a place of nightmares.
She seems to be dealing with it quite okay.
In what direction is the splatter then?
Well,
Get on with it.
before that, Yelris wants to speak to your
Oh, yes.
friend.
Oh yeah.
Shade.
Elder, apparently.
Shade, what an interesting name.
It's fitting, isn't it, for a place like this?
It is. You should be mindful of shades in the darkness.
At this point, I do take my hood off. It's not because, yeah.
She doesn't respond.
No, yeah, it's, do you know what?
Trade with an elf town.
Yeah, that's why I'm fine with it now.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know
yes.
gold.
Get you a bow. I will make sure someone comes in here for you to translate. It would probably be best for the rest of you if you didn't wander.
Would you mind awfully if I sat in on his meeting, or is that going to be is that strictly between those two,
Given he needs
or
a
is that down to
translator.
Yaris? I guess.
Yelris
Well, I
has
can't translate the sign language.
Yelris has requested a private meeting.
I'll sit down then. No worries.
If we may wait in here, then I'm sure you'd want us in somewhere quiet and where
Out
we
of
wouldn't
the
draw
way.
additional
Yes.
attention.
Here is a perfect place for you to wait. I will have your bow sent here.
I believe then we have an accord.
Wonderful. I will send also one of my scouts, one of the people who found the area. They will provide you with the directions you need.
That would be much appreciated.
Well, I can't exactly send you out to deal with the problem if you don't know where the problem is.
This is true, but they will provide us with more information than just a direction, I'm sure.
And then, well, I will return. Actually, no, my scout will see you out and on your way once the conversation with Yelris is done.
One thing though. When we do return, how do we greet your guard in order to regain access to your townstead?
If you return,
When?
I will tell my guard to look out for a collection of non-rotting, talking humans, dwarf, halfling, and elf.
That should probably do it.
You do stand out.
Practically everywhere.
I'd stand out more if I put my other helmet on.
Please don't.
No, I'm not going to.
It has red eyes.
I'd highly recommend not wearing
No, I'm
that.
not going to wear it. Don't worry.
Wonderful. Shade, if you'd follow me.
Certainly.
It she leads you out and basically just across the the church to a room at the other side.
I'm gonna check people's armour is correctly fastened and things like that. Just, pre-mission checks.
I'm actually going to check my short bow for the first time since we started.
Yeah, that's fair.
Still got the string in it.
It's still functioning. Still all good.
Quick to check my longbow as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
While I've
still
had a
got
short bow,
poundage
and
to it.
it has not left my back.
is his staff still turned on?
Right.
Yes.
Yes. The conversation with Yelris, I would like to ask everyone else to leave the table.
Hello.
Farewell.
Saying goodbye.
We'll just wait a few minutes as they all finish shuffling.
Is that shut? Is that staying open?
They'll stay open because you can't be shut with you there,
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say.
but it's fine.
Alright.
So yeah, so you are led across the church to another
Yes.
room where you see Yelris, the very old human, and a younger male human who's standing in there as well, sort of slightly off to the side. Yeah. Yelris communicates with some signs to Mazo, who nods and goes, "Take a seat. Enjoy your conversation." And then she heads out and shuts the door. So Yelris begins signing various things towards you, and the other male translates. Actually, yeah, no, that does make sense. Yeah, the male translators. Yelris welcomes you to Bleakwick. He says that he recognizes a kindred spirit in you. And he has information to say that says that you are here on the mistress's summoning. He says that I'm sorry. This is odd. Just bear with. He's not used these sort of symbols before. I'm just trying to make sense of what he's saying. He says that there are others outside. I'm not sure what he means by that, but he says that you are to be tested, but by finding here, by being here, you have completed a test, and Yelris wishes to reward you for that, which is the information. He says there are others who will need more before they will guide you. He's indicating something, but I don't know what the word he's saying is. It is not a word I know. I'm sorry, I can't translate that.
So that there are others that need more. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, there are others that need more.
So he doesn't actually speak at all.
Nope.
He's deaf and a mute, almost. He's practically. Maybe to make things a little bit easier on you, does he lip read?
Yelris nods.
It's a good skill. If only you could talk back. I can lip read too. But okay. Thank you for being here, or letting me be here and talk to you. You are correct in some sort of kindred spirit. I was led here as soon as I landed. I don't know what you mean by there are others that need more. I presume I have to help others potentially, or maybe there are others that are also on the same path.
He starts to sign again. He says the others need more proof. They need more from you. They are there to help. They have been sent to help, but they need more from you before they decide to help. Oh, that's a strange thing to say. He says you are not in your true form.
Hold on before I...
Yep.
Let me write this.
Yep.
So yeah, he says that, yeah.
Yep.
And without... he clearly knows, but without trying to make it too obvious from my facial expression, I am still shocked.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what he means by that at all.
That's... Because I'm thinking there's nothing... I know there's nothing I can do. I could do something, but it doesn't exactly prove anything. So this is more of a test, the way I gather it. If I prove myself to them, the more information I get. You are very wise, and there I'm not in my true form right now. I've got more to learn before I can harness that power. I can only do so much right now.
He starts signing. The translator. He doesn't know of what you're talking about. He thinks maybe you've misunderstood. He says that he refers to that which changed when you stepped on the island.
Some relief.
I'm not. I don't know what that means. I hope that means something to you.
Yes. Does it happen to many people? I'm definitely not elderly.
The translator's a bit like, what?
Sorry to alarm you, but so I'm actually quite young as an elf. But for some reason this island has aged me drastically.
Odd. Yelris signs and he says it is a gift, but also a curse from the mistress. It is a sign of her. A sign of her presence, a sign of her being close and around you, a sign of her watching you.
Right.
Says it is not the island that has done it. It is
Yeah,
the effects of the mistress.
that makes more sense. Actually, that makes extreme sense because, as you are probably already aware, I travel with another elf, and they are fine. And being a follower of her, it makes sense. Okay.
He does say that he has not heard of others that have had that happen to them, though there have been no other travellers that have come from outside.
Suppose getting here is the first test, clearly. You said it was a curse, but also a gift. Is it meant to... will this continue to guide me?
He says you are marked in a way that certain other choice followers can identify you.
Yes, because knowing her, my fate is already sealed, and it makes sense that I meet such individuals. Okay.
He says once you've done your thing for the sheriff, there are other matters that you and your party might look into, should you wish. The others would regard you more highly if the other things are resolved.
It certainly can't hurt to try. Worst case, we don't make it there. Best case, there's a better favour. Okay. Do you know what I'd be up against if we do follow those other tasks?
We don't know. The information we have Keshro is our town leader. Her and her escort vanished about a week ago. She was performing a routine check of the guarded outside area and then returning back to the village whilst out of sight of both the guarded area and the village vanished.
Vanished as in
Disappeared.
almost like invisibility, but they just went.
Gone. We don't know. The people here are not skilled trackers.
She and her escort were also human.
All human, yes.
Was her escort male or female?
A mix of.
Okay. Oh, when you say escort, not just one.
Oh, no, it was it. Yeah.
A full on.
There was her and 6 others.
Okay.
Additionally, we have in the last 6 days had a total of 8 children vanish. They were
6, sorry, alright.
8
8.
children. The children during the day are normally taken to the outside area. It is constantly guarded with a guardian or 2 to watch over whilst they're there. So they can play and stretch their legs, but not attract too much to the village. 6 days ago, 3 of them disappeared from inside the area, and the guardians that were there and the guards that were there don't remember them disappearing. They don't know when they vanished. The gate was never opened.
Was this inside the town?
Inside the separated area.
Or is that actually inside the town? Or?
No, it's a separate place.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not the same guarded area the escort was going, was it?
Yeah, it's the same
area that
area.
she went and her escort. The leader went and.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
But the leader and the escort disappeared on the way back.
On the way back.
And we're out of sight of everyone.
Yeah.
The kids disappeared from inside the actual walls of the guarded area, in sight of the guards
It was
and
6
the
days ago.
guardians.
Sorry.
6 days ago were when 3 disappeared. And 2 days ago, 5 disappeared.
Also inside the walled area.
Also inside the walled area, but they had doubled the guards and doubled the guardians. And none of them remember their children disappearing. And since we haven't sent children back there, they are kept inside the town, inside the village.
Some dark dealings definitely going on. And this is the first time this has happened. I have a weird hunch, I have an idea of what's causing the loss of memory. Because, well, I lost first, all these children humans. So, myself included, and most other elves, or what I suppose you would call the outside, don't have memory of a lot of elven history. And this could somewhat be related. It might be something completely different, but it's something to go on. Maybe they've seen things they shouldn't have. Who knows?
Yelris says he leaves it to your expertise should you look into it. Obviously, if you decide not to, then it is. So this is the way of fate. That what has happened, and nothing is to be done. But if you do look into it and resolve the situations, the others watching will hold you in a higher regard.
So they're always watching.
Yelris signals and translate yes, but I don't know what he means by that. As far as I'm aware, there is no one else. There's only the people here in the settlement. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, so your missing leader and her escort, and missing children. Is that all? Okay. Well, thank you. I will try and persuade the rest of our group if we can have a look into this, because I would very much like to help out.
Yelris stands and grasps his cane and sort of leans on it, and then signs to the translator. He has asked me to leave. Good day, and turns and leaves. And then Yelris turns to you. And up close, you got sort of close to him before. You can really see the age of this human. You suddenly notice that this close, where in his hair is made more noticeable when he reaches up to grasp it. You can see there's a white, sort of platinum blonde circlet. So as you can say, it's very difficult to see. And he grasps it and lifts it off his head. And you watch his form shift, and you are looking at a very old-looking, sort of withered, hunched-over elf with white hair.
Don't want to do that. Oh no!
And he sort of just he just puts the cane against the wall and just stands up and stretches and just looks at you. Smiles and then puts it back on and grasps the cane and just sort of indicates
And that's why I'm like that? No, that's why he's like that for sure.
He mouths at you.
Yeah.
He does
Cool.
mouth at you. Yep. He goes, others like me. But without the disguise.
Interesting.
And then he starts shuffling out. Using the cane.
I will, not saying it, just in case, I doubt anyone is listening, but mouth it. Because he just mouthed that as well, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, because he has to. Thank you for sharing that with me. Your secret is safe. Yeah.
Cool. And you go out and rejoin your party, who will be given information and whatnot, and we'll find out what that is next week. This has gone on for a decent length of time. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed some of that. I know I certainly have. It's always fun sitting here.
I do love this.
Sam's going to have to process it a little bit, but
Yeah.
Stay tuned for episode 28. It will be up obviously next week. Go check out all our social media, check out Destai and check out Christopher Rolls. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.